Welcome to the Sour Go-to-Market SaaS Takes podcast, where all your favorite SaaS leaders spill their controversial opinions while testing their taste buds. Get ready for sour candy with even sweeter insights.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Jason Hassenberg, and you're tuning into the Sour Go-to-Market SaaS Takes podcast, the show with sour candies and even sour takes. Today, I'm joined by Alex Virden. Alex is a product marketing leader and go-to-market leader. She recently founded Virdical, and Virdical is meant to help companies solve their most demanding marketing, branding, and positioning challenges. Alex, thank you so much for joining today. It's a pleasure being with you. Are you looking forward to the challenge?
I am optimistic, but a little nervous to be honest.
Do
So
you
glad
like
to be here.
you like sour candies?
Not really, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity to give my real thoughts on a few product marketing issues. So here we
Absolutely.
are.
Brady just shot with her yesterday, and she couldn't handle the last two, just spit them out of her mouth. So if you need to get rid of them, no worries. Obviously, we'll try to cut out whatever I can, but for the most part, we're just going to let it roll. So the 5 sour candies we're trying today, we have sour Skittles, a level 9 on the Pucker Index. We have sour popping candy by Warheads. That's a level 24 on the Pucker Index. We have Crybaby Tears. That's a level 34. We have Barnett's Mega Sour Candy, a level 40. And then we have Toxic Wastes, Nuclear Fusion, 43. So as we dive in, at any time, take a drink of water, take a break, whatever's needed. Alex, thank you so much again for joining. Let's get in right into our first sour take. Let's go ahead and try our sour candies. First up, sour
Anyways,
Skittles.
I should have undone the like little wrapping first, but
All good.
sour Skittles aren't too bad.
No. And while you're trying it, I'll read off. Company politics, gossip, and old guard versus new guard mentalities will absolutely ruin a product marketing manager's career. Love your feedback on this. Why is this your first sour take?
Um, wow, these are like kind of dry. Yeah, I think this is one of the most crucial things that is underestimated in product marketing. And it really can lead to burnout. It can lead to stress. You're in charge of so many things and you're a central cog within the organization. So kind of playing to politics, gossip, old guard versus new guard mentalities can ruin your effectiveness in product marketing. Engaging or being, targeted by company politics and gossip can absolutely divert your focus from your primary responsibilities and even from like your strategy, your leveling up. So I always tell PMNs that when they're interviewing with companies to really ask the tough questions around what's your org culture like? What's the split between people who have been there 20 years and new? What's the mentality? And then, of course, like meeting with the go-to-market leads or meeting with the CEO, especially. And if anywhere along the way you're not allowed to meet with somebody or they divert that question, it's an absolute red flag. So, yeah, speaking from experience, like, you need to make friends across the go-to-market team and do that very quickly in order to be effective. And all that kind of stuff can absolutely weigh you down. And I think people really aren't talking about it as much as maybe it can impact someone's career.
Yeah, let's look further into that because I've had experiences, and I'm not a product marketer, but I've had experiences where the new guard versus old guard gets in the way. And instead of having a really logical conversation based around a solution you're trying to solve or a go-to-market strategy, all of a sudden everybody's in their feels and
Mhm.
they're not really thinking logically, right? And so I'd love for you to maybe explain an example of when this happened and how did you
Mhm.
rally the troops back and say, hey, this isn't what we should really are focused on. We're focused on the end solution.
Yeah, I mean, such divisions can hinder collaboration, creativity, flow of information, and without naming companies or names, there was an experience that I had coming into an organization where there was a pretty solid old guard kind of group, and it really didn't help with us getting launches together. The feedback of information was siloed, and we actually ended up having to go in person to have like a team discussion and a team building session in order to work through that. And I think that it helped a lot, but if you don't get off on the right foot, it's hard to build back better, I guess. Even though we were able to kind of right size it, it never got to be the strong partnership I think that I wanted, or others on my team really wanted.
Yeah, let's break it down, right? So you brought up the hiring process. What are the red flags when it comes to, looking for a new PMM role?
Yeah, I would say anything around silos or ineffective feedback loops, or just people's tone, or how they talk about the structure of the go-to-market team and the collaboration between different groups within an organization, especially like product to marketing, marketing to sales, figuring out, how to ask the questions in a way that gets you to, are people working together? Is there a strategy at the top that's really going to align everybody? Or are you just going to be the one, trying to get these groups to work together and nobody really gives a shit about working together or wants to work together? And then as a product marketer who's trying to do a launch or enable people, you're left, screaming, crying, trying to figure it all out. And there's nobody there to support you or help you. So I always like to say, think about the questions you'd ask to figure out if somebody's going to be on your team or they're going to ruin your day. Like, you can suss it out. You can feel when maybe, if you have multiple interviews with folks, teams are not maybe as collaborative as they want you to think, or that it sounds on the surface level, and keep pushing until you get a real answer. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be your career where you're unhappy or burnt out and then are leaving in 6 months, versus finding a spot where you could stay 2, 5 years, or, grow into something else.
Yeah. So let's say that we are in the hiring process. There's no red flags. We get into the team, and all of a sudden, we start to see some red flags start to build up. How
Mhm.
are you managing that when it happens?
Yeah, I think from the jump, when you're joining a product marketing organization, or you're the founding PMM, you need to set the tone around product marketing. You need to make sure everybody's on board with what product marketing is, what the deliverables are. And if you start to see red flags, nip it in the bud, because you've already had those conversations that you're going to come in, you're going to work with the go-to-market team, and you're going to have access to people like the founder, like the head of sales, like the head of marketing, that you can come talk to and have very direct conversations. My grandmother always says there's nothing you can't get through if you just tell the truth. And so, having a frank conversation can smooth a lot of things out of the way. So I would hope, not every job is going to be a walk in the park, right? Issues do come up, especially if you're at a high growth company that's pivoting, navigating new things, what have you. But as issues come up, making a plan, like exercising your voice and exercising the fact that product marketing can sit in a very strategic role, are all super important.
What are the so based on, a smaller company, maybe you're the first, product marketer on the team compared to a team that you're joining, maybe there's a group of them already. Are there
Mhm.
different ways you're looking at joining those organizations?
It's funny. I have, outside of my first role in product marketing, I've always either been a solo product marketer or a founding product marketer. So I feel like I'm a bit biased when I answer that. But when I joined the group product marketing team, there was already a strong culture around product marketing. And our VP, Lisa Schur, was wonderful at blocking, tackling, and letting the product marketers that owned each function really shine and power through, and gave us access to the right people in order to kind of further our initiatives, do launches, enablement, all of that. As a founding PMM, I think you have to be much more in tune with yourself and your confidence, and also just how you approach business and laying a groundwork and having that forethought to say, what else do I need to do? So why does this matter? And how am I, as a product marketer and building a team or doing it all on my own, how am I laddering up to the business objectives? So I don't look like an issue, I look like a solution. And so I think the strategy is the same when it comes to maybe running, the strategic time side around product marketing, but it's the exercising and flexing within an organization that's going to be far much more on you as a founding product marketer than maybe it would be in a group. But my experience was, 6-ish, 7-ish years ago in a group product marketing situation. So someone listening to this can check me on that.
Thank you so much for wrapping up our first sour take. That was unbelievably valuable for me, someone who works with product marketers all the time, understanding the way they're thinking about their process and how they work with the team, I think is just very crucial for the entire go-to-market, strategy. So
Mm-hmm.
let's move to our sour take number 2, Alex. Sour take number 2 is the Warheads popping candy.
Oh,
I'm sure you've had popping rocks,
yeah.
so it's very similar to that. Uh, we'll get going on this.
If I can open it, hold
Yeah,
on.
take a second. Sour take number 2. I had to bite it, but it's okay.
There's no
Got it
good way
cut?
to eat this on camera, I guess, right?
Oh, no, not a great way. Calling PMM misunderstood is a crutch.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm,
Ooh,
yeah.
that popping sensation like never gets normal.
No. Some people love it. Like Jared, he absolutely loved it. He's like, this is the best. And then I forgot who it was. I think Melissa Gaglione. She was like, no, this sucks. This is terrible.
Yeah. No, it's a no for me, dog. Um, okay. Calling product marketing misunderstood as a crutch. Yes, totally. I see this a lot on LinkedIn, and I see this a lot when it comes to KPIs for product marketing or defining product marketing at different organizations or between, startup versus an enterprise. And I just honestly wish we could change the tone of that conversation, because it's an excuse, right? Like it overshadows, I think, some of the deeper organizational issues around role clarity, effective communication, strategic alignment that are like real business issues versus a functional issue. And when I think of product marketing, I think product marketing is both a role and also a business strategy. So um, I just feel like when you try to oversimplify it or dismiss kind of talking about and structuring product marketing, it makes it really challenging then for organizations that maybe want to hire their first PMM or want to expand their group to even feel like they are doing it right or know like how to put a team together. So I just hate it. I think it's like easy to say, and the more compelling thing might be to have a broader discussion in the product marketing community. It's like, okay, it can be so many different things, but like let's level out how businesses can be better environments to have a successful top line product marketing strategy, and then hire the marketers that are going to enable that product marketing strategy that may be called product marketers.
Yeah,
So
it's if I give you the space here just to explain to I think the entire go-to-market community, and maybe we're speaking to revenue leaders here, what is the goal of product marketing at the end of the day?
yeah, I mean, I really see it as a role that can help align. I love Tamara, and I'm gonna totally butcher her last name. So she talks a lot about on LinkedIn a chief strategy officer role, or the role of like product marketing growing into something that can help align go-to-market teams, that can help make sure we're on the right track towards our North Star in terms of what we want to build in the product, what type of customers are we getting to, what types of pricing, packaging do we need in order to hit those top level KPIs so we aren't spiraling. And I think product marketing really plays a role in that. And then on the flip side, and maybe the more qualitative side, the brand building, the community aspect of getting a product and a company out there. So I think if a company can clearly define or maybe have traction around their clear business objectives, it can trickle down into how product marketing can support, where a company goes, how successful a company can be. But there seems to be like a focus, on how long a messaging doc can be versus like the larger issues that I think surround product marketing that then people feel like it's misunderstood or that's like this mysterious, you need an MBA to get into kind of role. And I just think, when I look at demand gen folks or I look at content marketing, it's like there's some clear narratives there. And I think product marketing probably should strive towards that versus like, oh, we're misunderstood. No, we don't need any quantitative metrics. Like we're just a role. Like we just do things like launches and stuff. So
Yeah, and especially since we're in a market now that ties back everything to revenue and hitting specific goals, right? And I think when you do have some sort of measurement there, that role is not going to be cut, especially if you're able to show, okay, we were able to bring in X amount of revenue, we were able to bring in, X amount of upsells. And so I think you're hitting it right on the head when you say, there needs to be a conversation around what is product marketing, what is our role, and even more, who are we? Is there
Mhm.
any communities out there for product marketing leaders to join to have these conversations?
I think there's a lot of really smart people on LinkedIn. I do feel like the conversation gets a little echo chambery across some of the communities I'm in for product marketing. So I think it's really, I have a lot of like, oh my gosh, what is the phrase? Off the, off the record. Sorry,
Okay.
that
Yeah.
the sour candy is getting to me.
I was thinking off the cusp.
No, off the record conversations with product marketers who feel like the same way, but I think it's an easy narrative to just constantly say we're misunderstood, which also I think leads into some of like the hiring challenges around product marketing or um this notion that there's somehow a product marketer that's the super right exact unicorn fit for certain roles. And yeah, I just feel like it's a say it with your chest kind of thing. Like I should be saying this and I'm not. So um, you know, there's a group of people I think that feel this way that it's not going to be kind of out in a community where some communities publish a book called Product Marketing Misunderstood. So um, yeah, I think it's like a person-led
Yeah.
narrative.
Are there any people on LinkedIn that you can call out that you feel like, hey, if someone's listening right now and wants to know more, I mean, obviously yourself, but are there anybody else, on LinkedIn that you can share?
Let me pull her profile up real quick. I want to make sure I am pronouncing people's names right.
I'm gonna
Okay.
drink water while you do that.
So her name is spelled Y-I space L-I-N, and then her last name is P-E-I, and she's a career coach for product marketing and marketing roles.
Okay.
And she's done an amazing job of shifting and writing content towards scoping and phasing out what product marketing roles can look like and starting discussions on her page around this. And I just love everything that she does. And then Tamara Grominiski, whose last name I was like, I don't want to butcher, but now I can read it, does a great job on really talking about maybe some of the North Stars in the future of where product marketing can get to. So there's some voices out there for sure that are kind of beating the drum, but I think the easier narrative is around this, like it's misunderstood. We should be in the shadows around how we're, reporting on it. And every company is going to kind of have a different flavor of product marketing, but to keep it confusing, I think only makes it harder for product marketers themselves to get hired, to be successful, to really run strategy. So
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for the sour take number 2. That carries us on to our sour take number 3. We're going to
yeah.
be trying the crybaby tears. Now I'm going to put all 4. I'm going to eat all 4, but you don't have to. Totally up to you how many you want to do. I'm going to wait till you're able to undo that. I'm sorry. I spent a lot of time
Okay.
putting those in bags, so
I should have done the pre-work. It's all good. Is there okay, so since you've been eating these, is there a flavor that's like less sour than the others, or
don't
a
know.
color that's less
I've been
sour?
having them all together, so I couldn't tell you exactly.
Okay.
All
Perfect. I'm
right.
just
Okay, here we go.
uh,
Let me know how I can help is the worst phrase of all time. This made me laugh when I read this and you sent it over to me because I can't tell you how many people have messaged me that after having like a really good conversation too, they'll end
mhm.
it on like, let me know how I can help. And it just
Yeah.
feels so like doesn't feel personal at all.
Yeah, as somebody who quit their full-time role and then started consulting and just was out there, and um I got this a lot. Like, let me know how I can help. And I've done it too. Like, this is totally, I always say this and I'm like, wait, Alex, like, you hate this. So turn around and be helpful and be very specific with what you're going to help somebody with or how many hours you can give to them. But yeah, this just like rubs me, this grinds my gears, rubs me the wrong way. I just feel like being in the position of getting that a lot after I left my full-time role, it just felt like unhelpful, or I was stressed out because I was like, what did I just do? And
Yeah.
then I'm gonna have to go back to this person and figure out, play this guessing game of how much help they want to give me, or what if I over ask, or what if they think I'm weird because of what I'm asking? So
Yep.
um yeah, I just struggle with this one so much, and it's just been so top of mind given kind of the career transition I just did, that I was like, I
Yeah.
need to help everybody out there who wants to help, right? Because like I do feel people really want to help, but be specific, name the amount of time you have, what you're willing to do, and it'll make the other person feel better.
Yeah. And I think not ending the conversation on like, let me know I can help opens
Yeah.
up more for like there to be some sort of back and forth talk between what is it you actually can help with. And I know Jared Robin was talking about this on his podcast, was just basically saying that he always starts by asking how can he be of value to them and
Mhm.
listing out a few ways of what he's actually good at, right? And what he can actually do for them. And I think having that list could help. Will it take a little bit to write down a list? I don't know. I mean, I think we all know what we're helpful with, right? I mean, not that hard. So just going a little bit more in depth in your outreach on LinkedIn to make it feel like you actually care about the person, and instead of making it feel like, oh shit, you're on your own, like you're on
Right.
this desert island. Do I need to do I need to send a ship to get you, right?
Right. Right. It's like you also just don't know how to really respond to that. Let me know how I can help. I have no idea. So yeah, I love that. Let me know how I can be of value, and just taking the time to be like, I can help you edit your resume, or I can make connections. Just being like very upfront with the help is super key. I love that.
Is there anybody that's helped you since the beginning that you'd want to give a call out to?
Oh gosh, so many people. Where to start? Matt Sturm, who is a fractional marketing ops guy. He's the best. I always call him a baby genius because he is just so smart. Always helpful. Always is like, well, did you think about? And then, he'll drop some knowledge on me. I'll be like, of course. Mark Huber, who I worked with at Metadata, very helpful. Always just like a text, hey, I thought you might want to be intro to. Can I link you guys up? wonderful. Brittany Blanken, Megan Pratt, a woman that I've worked with in the past, Shireen, for product marketing. So many people have been so wonderful with, just following up. And it makes me realize, okay, Alex, like you get better too. Like this isn't just a call out for other people. It's a reminder to me, like, be specific and all of that great stuff. But yeah, Jason Widup. I'm like, as I'm talking, I'm thinking of so many people. It's so wild how many helpful people there are. It's just kind of putting out that signal and then them recognizing, their own time, I think, and their own specialties and coming back with, suggestions or helpful connections, things like that.
Jason Widup was a huge mentor in my life. Just about a year ago, he came into, he was helping me host an event in New York, and I was struggling with work-life balance, and he really, really like
Oh, he knows.
called me and he's like, "Hey man, you can't be working at 11 p.m. at night on a Saturday. Like, what are you doing for yourself?"
Yeah.
Had a really deep convo, and like I think those types of things are what matters really.
Mhm.
Like I'll remember that. I I'll still text him every once in a while. And I think what I got out of what you said was you have this community of people, right? It's not just a one-off LinkedIn message. It's actually a community that you've built around you of like-minded individuals who are willing to be helpful, and you're also willing to help them back.
Mhm.
And so maybe some advice for, product marketers who are going on their own, or maybe they're in a company and they still need help. Like, how do you build that community around you to be able to get feedback the way you've been able to?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it just starts with a friendly outreach. I loved what you said about X. I'd love to talk to you about Y. Or, for folks that are, maybe more senior, calling it out, putting it on your LinkedIn. Like the other week I posted, um, you know, come into my DMs if you have any questions. And a couple people hit me up to just chat and set up some time. And it was great because they needed some advice, but I also learned something from them too. So, I think it's a two-way street of just being open and sharing that you're open to either wanting feedback or wanting to mentor or wanting to help somebody, in their career. But also don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to connect. Um, and most of the time, not everybody's going to have the time or the space to be able to help, which is of course perfectly understandable. We're all humans, but most people are pretty helpful, and if they can't help, the amount of intros of like, hey Alex, meet X, has been wonderful. So I think a lot of people get maybe a little shy. I know early in my career I did, of just reaching out and saying, hey, I really admire you, I'd love to see if you had 15 minutes that I could just pick your brain or ask a question, and see where it takes you. I think people are more willing, especially product marketers are pretty open for a chat. I've found, um, they're pretty willing to help.
Yeah. And like from my time at Sales Intel, I've been working closely with one of my colleagues, Allison. She's our product marketer. And
Mhm.
something I've realized a lot is that product marketers are working with all different verticals of the organization, right? And so you have to be able to communicate, you have to be very friendly and be able to get along with people well. And I think EQ is actually one of the biggest
Mhm.
focuses when you are a product marketer. And so, what is your from when you think about it that way, are there any tips and traits you'd give a product marketer around just, being able to work around all different verticals?
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely being friendly, being open to conversation, being curious, learning to active listen. I know when I first started, it was like I was always thinking ahead or almost cutting people off.
Mhm.
But slowing down, really listening, trying to understand the problems that they're having, not just with like hey, I can't get this release to happen because I'm behind, but also like the business reason, the maybe team reason, and understanding perspectives across the go-to-market team is so important to be an effective collaborator, communicator, enabler, to be able to get access to things, being smart, strategic is one thing, but being able to be a real partner can get you into conversations with, maybe some really strategic customers that CS doesn't want you to talk to, or getting access to a late stage prospect that sales wouldn't normally want you to talk to. And so really building those foundational relationships and strengthening them over time is just one of the parts that I love about product marketing. And I think just gives you that really, really sharpened skill set and helps build consensus, which ultimately you need to get anything done in product marketing.
I absolutely love that take. And that leads us to our sour take number 4, Alex. We are ready to go. This is going to be a very, very, it's going to blast right away. So I'm going to cheers you on this one.
Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous.
Yeah. Ready? Go.
Ooh. Oh,
Category
that's terrible.
category creation is dumb.
Oh, 1 second.
All good.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was like something I've never had before. Okay.
Better,
Yes.
but
Category creation is dumb
ugh,
for most people, for most organizations. Are there companies creating category? Yes. Have there been companies that create category? Yes. Will there be companies that create category? Yes. But most companies that I see or work with that are trying to create a category, it feels, and at a technical level, it is navel gazing. So internal opinions on we are special and we need our own category. Brand shuffling. So we're going to, rewrite our landing pages. We're going to rewrite our homepage. We're going to call ourselves something, or like trying to get a new category on G2. So, um, I just, I, I feel like if a category is going to happen, it's art and science on the company side, and it's really doubling down from the jump that you have a product that you're innovating with. You have a North Star when it comes to that product. You're working really closely with your customers. You're in tune with the market, and you're building something that then kind of creates its own moment, and you're able to capture that with your marketing team, your business leaders, and break through versus like, okay, we need to diversify us from competitor X category.
yeah.
So yes, I feel like category creation for the most part, asterisk, it does happen, is dumb.
Do you think that category creation happens like do you think that I feel like some companies have created something and they don't really know that they're creating a category? So
Mhm.
like that's magical, but let's go back to the beginning, which you were stating, like why would you even want to create a category, right? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, the sour is lingering a little on my lips, but I'm good.
Okay. So why would someone want to create a category? And then let's just go into if you know that there's like an actual category to be made, how would you do that strategically?
Yeah, I mean, from my past experience, a category has been desired, mostly founder led, because they feel like we're maybe getting lumped into the wrong category, or maybe we are so much differentiated from our competitors, and we're hearing it from our analysts, or we're hearing it from our advisors, that we need to separate ourselves, and we can build this thing, and we're futurizing. Which is another point I should have gotten to. We're futurizing on what this product could be. So we're going to lay the groundwork, we're going to hire an agency, and we're going to build a category.
Mhm.
And it's a fool's errand, right? Because like you can't force feed. I mean, I'm sure it happens, but you can't force feed a category. You can't make fetch happen. You know what I mean? Like you just can't. It's like it needs to have this element of um lightning striking. It needs to have this moment in time where it is the right moment for it to accelerate and pick up and take storm. But deciding on a Tuesday that you want to call something, an operating system, and it's so much different from this platform when it's nearly the same thing, or you're futurizing about what it could be. So you're inherently selling vaporware is not what's going to get you the category.
It makes you feel like when you do something like that and you release it, it almost makes you feel like you don't know what you're talking about, right? Like it almost feels like there's some sort of play on the brand where it's like, wow, these people just wasted a ton of their time.
Right. And it puts pressure on folks like product marketers or the product team or engineering to align with some future state that you're shopping around, that maybe realistically from a product perspective, you're 5 years away from this, or from a product perspective, you should be strengthening the core platform capabilities and innovating here there, but the big swing might come later down the road when you have more insight, more funding, more X, Y, or Z. So yeah, I think there's a lot of factors that get missed in the excitement of potentially building a category. And um I just feel like there is this true element sometimes of right place, right time,
Yeah.
but also planning for, you know, category creation. I don't know if some of the bleeding edge companies that have created categories are planning for the category itself,
Yeah, yeah. And there seems to be some social pressure out there, right? Like, oh
Mhm.
my God, everyone's posting on LinkedIn. You know, ComSora just posted that they're creating a new category, and it's like we need to get out there too, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. What were you gonna
No,
say?
I was just gonna say, it in my opinion, as a product marketer who's comes in, gets really hype about a platform, gets really hype about the customers, focus on that. Like focus on building the best product you can. Focus on deepening your relationship with your customers, nailing growth, nailing retention, and it will come. It's just pressure from the top, probably around VCs funding, pressure from founders and their ambition, pressure from the market and status quo makes it hard to not play that game, I think.
Yeah, no, and that's a great call out too, because there is some sort of difference between, excuse you, sorry. Sorry for the sour candies.
I'm going through it with that one, so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
But let me get my trail of thought back. There's some sort of difference between like a bootstrapped company with a founder who's very ambitious and a company that has it's gotten $100 million investment, right?
Mhm,
And they're in a series, whatever, whatever series they're in.
mhm.
When you're a product marketer and you're joining companies like that, was that to you, is that even a red flag? Or it's like, oh, okay, like they're actually, we have one, the bootstrap company, the founder is very ambitious.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's great to have a founder that's involved that wants to push the product. And then on the other side, okay, we have VC, we have a lot of money to play with, so we can actually go out and do what we got to do. So is that a red flag to you, or is it a green flag?
I think it's one of those areas where you need to push on the questions and understand the strategy, the thought of the founder. Does the founder have what's the founder's end goal? What would make them happy, and how are they kind of having that conversation with other leaders? How does that trickle into the business goals? Because I've seen somewhere that they won't hang it up. There's a clear exit opportunity potentially. And it's like, nope, we are riding into the sunset because we are creating a category and I believe it. It's like, well, you, like what's your North Star? So I would say there's no one right answer. It's sussing out what you're comfortable with and excuse me, and what makes sense to you.
Yeah. Thank you for that. We'll get to our sour take number 5.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm good. What was the pink and green one?
Watermelon. And it was
That one.
Barnett's Mega Sour. That's been the one that's been hitting people the hardest. If you've seen the funny faces, it's come from that one, that candy.
That one is rough.
Yeah, oh yeah. It lingers, like you said.
Hmm.
So Again, I'm sorry, but
I knew one of them was gonna catch up to me. So
this one I hope isn't as sour. It says it is though, so we'll see how you like it.
I mean, it is toxic waste. So
Yeah. Sour take number 5. Here we go.
mm-hmm.
Most companies hiring product marketing managers, freelance, fractionals, or consultants really just need an
In-house person.
in-house person, I thought. Those
Ooh,
candies get into my head.
the sugar intake. Yeah. Ooh. So this is coming a bit from, I've kind of always been moonlighting as a product marketing consultant, mostly around messaging or enablement or like asset building. And when I felt like I'm really helping and this will not get on a shelf that just doesn't get used is when there's a team in place. Now being on my own and kind of coming in as like the only help for 8 hours a week or for 3 months at a time, it becomes evident that most companies really need someone, like we kind of talked about at the top of the podcast, that through line of strategy, that through line of enablement for the what comes next, the you know running and iterating on each launch process, each kind of strategic initiative that product marketing owns. And I think with the weirdness of marketing budgets, it's been really hard for some teams to commit to who's the right next best marketer to hire. And I think it really is product marketing. So it's just an interesting kind of feeling as a freelancer, a fractional consultant, whatever capacity I am in with a company, to think, wow, they really just need to hire somebody.
And this is funny because there's this whole freelancer consultant push, right, in the SaaS and tech world. I think everyone and their grandma is becoming a consultant or creating their own company, right? But like, I think you have some really wise words for companies who are trying to go that fractional route, but
Mhm.
obviously they need someone in house. And so when you're consulting a company and you know that this is the case, what do you say to them?
Most of the time I don't say anything because I, as a consultant,
Yeah.
I have to weigh, what they're dealing with. Sometimes I'm working directly with the CMO, or I'm working with a VP of marketing, or I'm working with somebody else on the team that is well aware that they're understaffed in some capacity.
Yeah.
Now, I will recommend oh, we're thinking of hiring somebody in the spring, or we're waiting to see kind of how Q1 plays out. Then I'll go in and recommend,
Of
hey,
course.
product marketing would be really great because it seems like you want somebody that has full capacity, can really understand the product and company knowledge, can deal with long-term strategy, can deal with team integration across teams, can do the brand consistency, do the launches. You should really consider product marketer. I'd be happy to help you write the job description, things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I say this hot take, but also, or sour take, but also recognize marketing has been, punched in the head for like 24 months. So um yeah, but I do feel like most teams really need an in-house product marketer.
And so what are the and this might be easy, but and some people probably know this, but what are the advantages of having an in-house product marketer versus having someone who is, able only to do a couple hours a week? And maybe there's a combination, right? You have an in-house product marketer who's a junior and doesn't know everything, and then you have
Mhm.
someone who, like you, can come in and actually teach them how to be a better product marketer.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. Shireen, who I mentioned earlier, is someone who has just been so helpful. When I was at a company called Patient Pop, she came in a capacity that was like almost like a strategist to help me level up what I was able to do and think through as the founding product marketer who was kind of leading everything from a day to day. And then on the flip side at Metadata, a woman named Megan Pratt came in to just help me augment the sheer amount of work as a solo product marketer you're going to be faced with. So I think those hybrid relationships are really ideal and attractive. Obviously, if budget is there, if strategy is there. But when you're thinking, okay, Alex, come down to earth. Like, not everybody has a budget for a full-time hire. I understand that. A cost efficiency of hiring fractional freelance or a consultant is super critical right now for teams trying to play defense against their CFOs or their founders who are looking to cut spend. And then, some of the freelancers that are out there are really specialized in their skill set. And so you might need somebody that can just come in and really do a TAM analysis or something, or pricing packaging that's really focused on the numbers in a very, we have this hypothesis, we just need it answered. Also freelance consulting, all of that fractional type of stuff, flexibility and speed. They might be able to just sprint through something when somebody that's in-house might have, stand-ups, other calls, a dentist appointment, things like that, where it's not that deep focus work that's going to get done, in a 2-week period, and you pay X amount and move on.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
if you're a founder or CEO, or maybe you're the head of marketing and are thinking about bringing a fractional CMO or a fractional, my fault, fractional product marketer on board, how do you make sure that that product marketer is aligned with the mission and tied into the goals?
Yeah. I would say, and I've made this mistake, before you hire somebody to come into product marketing, be really crisp on what it is you want them to do. Be willing to give them access to the documentation, to your Salesforce instance, so they can see numbers and track deals, Gong, give them the resources that they'll need to be successful, and give them the right scope so that they can hit the ground running, and give them time to absorb information up front. Because it's not like, I don't want to be rude, but it's not like maybe graphic design where I'm making a logo and I'm not a graphic designer, so I might be totally ignorant, but it's not like here's a point A and we're getting to point B. Sometimes it's, here's point A, we'd like to get to point B, but we're going to go crazy for a little, and you're going to end up doing a little bit more, and there's going to be some scope creep, and we kind of want you to augment our team. And so just have clarity. And then for the product marketer coming into the team, really set boundaries and really stick to your scope, because that is something that can also go a little bit awry in my own experience.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for joining me today on the podcast. That closes out our 5 sour takes. And I'd love to give you, a minute or two just to talk about what product marketing means to you and what you would like people to take away from this show.
Yeah, so thanks for having me. The sour candy were as sour as the takes, I think. And, when I think of product marketing, I really hope people take away from this that product marketers are such a great way to have glue and consistency across a go-to-market function. And it's really advantageous to have a marketing team that does have a product marketers. And there are tons of product marketers right now that are looking for their next role. And so don't be afraid to hit me up if I'm connected to one. And if you're a product marketer, hit me up anytime if you need support or want my network. It's your network. So
thank you so much again, Alex. It was so fun to be able to actually sit down and talk to you. I've been watching you on LinkedIn. Anybody who's watching wants to connect with Alex, go to LinkedIn. She posts all the time, very engaged in the community. If you want to follow the podcast, you can find us on pretty much any, Apple, Spotify, as well as on LinkedIn. We'll be posting funny faces and short clips and trying to create content that isn't boring in the B2B space. I think for us, it's a educational content with a entertainment twist. And so for everyone watching, thank you so much. Please subscribe. And Alex, again, thank you. Hope you have a great day. Appreciate you.
yeah, thanks for having me.
See ya.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Sour Go-to-Market SaaS Takes podcast, sponsored by Sales Intel, TAC, The Juice, Rev Genius, and Hockey Stack. More bite-sized content is available on our LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.